Hi everyone, thank you for joining today, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Shahana and I'm an enrollment advisor at Fourth Rev for the LSC Digital Marketing Career Accelerator. So whilst we go through the agenda, let us know in the chat what's one AI or analytics skill that you're hoping to build in 2025. Before we dive in, let me quickly outline what we will cover in the next 40 minutes. So we will cover why marketers must master AI and analytics now, real world uses or cases of AI driven marketing, the skills smart marketers are prioritizing in 2025, and from curious to confident, building career impact with AI, and also, and finally, introducing the LSC Digital Marketing Career Accelerator and the Q&A, which will be exciting. This will be a panel-led webinar with our experts sharing their insights and advice on every topic. This session will be recorded, guys, so please use Q&A at the bottom of your screen. It's the bottom for questions, and use the chat, which is the webinar chat, for other remarks. So please don't put the questions in the webinar chat. Please put it in the Q&A, which is below on the screen. Thank you. Now we're going to introduce the experts in our panel. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm very excited to be here with all of you. I'm Claire Dupree. I am a seasoned digital marketer and an AI educator. My background is really in scaling edtech startups and building high-performing marketing teams. I currently lead brand and product marketing at Fourth Rev, who is the partner on the LSE Digital Marketing Program. And I also ran my own AI learning community called Maiden, which is helping marketers and creatives learn how to work smarter with AI. Please don't be shy with the questions. I'm looking forward to engaging with you all.
Thank you so much.
Everyone. Sorry.
Go ahead, Shian. Go ahead.
No worries, Shahana. Hi, everyone. Lovely to see you today. My name is Sean. I'm a senior director at Bright Innovation, an agile marketing consultancy here in London in the UK. So I've been in marketing for 15 years. And over the last 8 years, I've been working primarily with scale-ups and enterprise businesses on introducing new technology, new ways of working, really looking at how we can improve marketing effectiveness. And obviously over the last couple of years, I've been spending a lot of time with clients tackling AI and data. So very excited to be talking about all of these topics with you today.
Thank you so much for those perfect introductions. So there is a saying, we're not talking about the future anymore. AI and analytics are already separating the marketers who are growing from those who are getting left behind. This industry stats gives some context. So 80% of marketers already use AI tools to personalize at scale. 60% say AI has directly helped their career in the past year. And 6 times the amount of data-driven marketers are more likely to exceed in business goals. So we would love to hear from you and our audience. A poll will launch, so let us know. And the poll question is, which area of AI in marketing excites you most? Feel free to choose in the options below. All right, thank you for everyone that chose in the poll. Now we will go on to the next slide. So why AI and data matter for marketers. Are we on the next slide? Thank you so much, Sam. So let's unpack 4 ways AI is transforming marketing. And I'll invite our panel to share their take on each one. So there's a personalization at scale, so using data to tailor messages in real time. There's predictive analytics, anticipating customer behavior before it happens, and automated content creation, so generating copy, visuals, and even campaigns at speed. There's also smart ad targeting, optimizing spend and performance with machine learning. Yeah. So, oh yes, there were some questions on our last slide. Apologies for that, Claire. Um, so, yeah, there were some questions. Shan, compared to a few months ago, what shifts are you seeing and how marketers approach and apply AI?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Shahana. And there's probably two big shifts that I have seen over the last few months. And I think the first one is a shift from curiosity to capability. So, over the last couple of years, I think everyone has been very curious, and we've all been testing it, and we've been trying out lots of different tools. I've certainly been on all of, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, you name it. I've probably tested it at some point. And I think we've gone past the, oh, this is cool, or the cool tool phase, as it were. And I think we're now actively thinking as marketing teams and individuals, how we embed AI into our workflows, how we use it to augment content production, automate reporting, simulate campaign scenarios, et cetera, et cetera. So I think with that, there's also now more of a focus on how we integrate it. And so we're starting to see much more momentum. And with the people that I'm talking about, the conversations are really starting to tie more into, how do we tie this into our marketing strategy? Where is this supercharging our existing team versus what tools are we testing and trying, and how are we using AI? It's more of a, how do we embed it in a way that works for us and works for our teams? Those are the sort of the two big things, shifts that I've seen.
Thank you so much for that, Shan. That was really clear. Really appreciated. Now, Claire, what is the biggest misconception about AI in marketing today?
I think Sean nailed some of that already, but I think the biggest misconception is that AI is either going to replace marketers or completely revolutionize everything overnight. So both of those extremes are totally misleading. And in reality, AI isn't this magic wand or this crazy threat. And it's more like Sean was talking to, it's become a new kind of team member, and one that's incredibly fast, but not very smart on its own. So I think that the marketers who get the most out of AI right now aren't necessarily the ones that are chasing every new tool, but they are the ones who know how to think critically about their workflows, like Sean was talking about, who understand the problem that they're trying to solve, and who can actually design systems that combine human judgment with AI efficiency. Because remember that our current systems are designed for human to human interaction. They're not designed for human to AI interaction, and that's got to shift. So for me, that shift isn't about replacing creativity or strategy. It's actually about augmenting with it, as Sean was saying. And the biggest trap that I'm seeing working with marketers and teams in this space is that teams have to adopt AI by rethinking the way that they work. So if you just bolt AI onto an outdated process, you're just going to get faster bad decisions. The opportunity is to redesign how we work, and that starts with upskilling ourselves and not just upgrading our tech stack.
Thank you so much for that, Claire. Both Shan and yourself have been amazing with your answers, and it's very, very insightful. Now, I have a question for both you and Shan. What kind of AI or analytics capabilities are you looking for in candidates today?
I can
It's
kick
a
us
good
off.
question.
Oh, Sean, you go.
Yeah,
For it.
go for it, Claire. I'm going to need a minute to think about that.
Honestly, I think I'm less interested in whether someone is a prompt whisperer or has mastered the latest AI tool. And I'm more interested in whether, to my previous answer, they can think critically about how to use AI to solve real business problems. So if I was looking for a candidate, I would look for someone who understands the basics of how AI works, of course, but more importantly, who can ask the right questions, who can design better workflows, and who can use data to make faster and smarter decisions. So I'm not looking for someone who can be a coder or super tech savvy, but they need to be curious and comfortable with experimentation, because that's the real skill, not just using AI, but using it well, responsibly, and in ways that are actually going to drive impact. So in marketing especially, I think the best candidates are the ones who can blend that creativity with a systems mindset, who can see how AI fits into that bigger picture of strategy, of customer experience and performance, of course.
Yeah, I think I don't have too much more to add on that, Claire. I kind of agree with everything that you've said there. For me, I think it's skill sets can be taught, right? So to me, it's not a question of like aptitude, although being able to demonstrate, that you've tested with it, what have you tried, what worked well, what didn't. I think what didn't work well is a really great indicator as well in terms of how you're improving your skill set. It's about attitude. It's, can you come at this with a critical thinking, problem solving, solution focused attitude, and really think about how you can apply it. So I think if someone's got the right attitude when it comes to thinking about AI and its use, the rest can be taught. And there's a lot of courses out there that can accelerate that learning for those particular individuals. So I think attitude is definitely a critical one to be looking out for.
Thank you so much for both of you. That was really amazing, and just really good insight into the AI that's emerging today as well. So thank you for that. Everyone that is asking questions, please do it in the Q&A, which is bottom of the screen, not the webinar chat. Thank you. Now, we're going to go on to the next slide. So looking at AI and data matter for marketers. So looking at personalization at scale, using data to tailor those messages in real time, predictive analytics, so anticipating customer behavior before it happens, automated content creation, so generating copy, visuals, and even campaigns at speed, and smart ad targeting, so looking at optimization of spend, performance with machine learning, which is very exciting. So I'm going to ask our panel, for Claire, for someone new to marketing, what's the most exciting or accessible place to start experimenting with AI?
Well, for me, I can talk about how I kind of got into it. It started with writing. I, like every marketer, was juggling way too much emails, landing pages, ad copy, and I thought, what if I could just get a first draft out in minutes instead of hours? So I started using ChatGPT to speed up my thinking, but not to replace it, just to get unstuck faster. And that small shift started changing everything for me. So in my learning circle that I run with marketers trying to learn how to adopt AI and how to use it, I often tell them to pick something that you already do and ask, how could AI help me do this better or faster? So that could be writing, summarizing, ideating or brainstorming, even organizing your day. I mean, I sometimes use AI to help me meal plan. The key is, don't wait until you feel ready, but rather use your real work as the playground. Because the most exciting part is that once you get comfortable experimenting with AI, you stop seeing it as this intimidating black box and you start seeing it as a creative partner. And I think that's when things really start opening up.
I really love that comment, not seeing it as a black box, Claire, and it's completely agreeable. Like, people see AI as a very intimidating tool factor, but it can be approachable, and when you can see that it goes together hand in hand with marketing, it becomes a beautiful space. So I love that. Thank you for that, Claire. Xian, in your experience, what's the risk for marketers who don't build AI literacy now?
Yeah. So I mean the short answer to that really probably is getting left behind. Whether if you're a junior member within a team, this is about AI literacy and being able to talk the talk and be able to have those conversations. And I think if you're not using it, then you're kind of being left behind in terms of those conversations. And yeah, it becomes very difficult to sort of like operate within the space that your peers are operating in. As a leader, I think, how can you lead a marketing team that want to be using AI if you don't know how to use it or how or where it needs to be applied within your own teams and functions as well. So I think there's definitely something there in terms of getting left behind or not having the right skill set to be able to leverage that technology in the right way to support your teams and to support your strategy. And also, I think, Claire, you nailed you hit the nail on the head is the expression I was looking for when you were talking about some of the fundamentals. I think that there's a real risk at this moment in time that you can scale AI in a bad way. If your fundamentals aren't strong, if your strategy's not strong, then adding AI on top is not going to fix it. It's only going to amplify the challenges that you're already experiencing. So I think, as a leader and from a strategic perspective, you need to have a really crystal clear view of that as well. Otherwise, you're just scaling broken problems. So I think that's probably the biggest risk. There's probably lots more, but those are the two that immediately spring to mind.
Thank you for that, Sian. That was really, really informative and much appreciated. Thank you for sharing. Okay, now we are now going to look at AI in action. So looking at real world case studies. Let's look at how these real brands are leveraging AI and data to drive real results. So these case studies that you see now highlight the tangible impact AI can have on digital marketing. So look at Zalando, Gen AI. Zalando leveraged AI to reduce image production time from 6 to 8 weeks to 3 to 4 days and cut costs by 90%. Starbucks, they did the Deep Brew out AI. So it was personalized marketing that led to a 15% increase in sales and a 12% higher average transaction value, which is amazing. Then we look at JP Morgan, looking at Coach AI. So they implemented AI tools to deliver personalized investment insights, leading to a 20% increase in asset and wealth management sales. So the AI integration also helped Cost save nearly $1.5 billion. Sorry, I was about to say pounds, actually dollars. So yeah, that was very, very impressive case studies. So now, everyone that's tuned in, let us know. A poll will launch right now asking, are you currently using AI in your marketing efforts? So feel free to answer the question in the poll and it'll be great to have your insights. So I'll allow some time now. Okay, thank you to everyone who put in the poll. 33% said yes actively, 52% said somewhat but not consistently, and 14% said no, but I'm interested. So thank you for everyone that voted. That was very, very interesting insight. Now we turn to the panel. Claire. So AI helped Zalando move faster and JP Morgan make smarter decisions. What do you think is valuable for marketing today? Speed or insight?
That's a bit of a trick question. And I'm going to say that because speed without insight is just faster mistakes. And insight without speed, well, that's strategy that never really takes off or ships. So I think for marketers today, the real value is in the combination of the two. And AI actually gives us this rare opportunity to do both. We can move faster and make better decisions, but only if we design our workflows to support that. So I always say that AI is not a race, it's a rethink. So I've seen teams use AI to generate like 20 headlines in seconds, but if they're not testing or learning from what lands, it just becomes noise at scale. So on the flip side, I've also seen people overthink strategy and then miss the moment entirely. So for me, I don't think it's speed or insight, it's speed with feedback. And that's where the real power is, because those learning loops or those growth loops are faster, smarter, always improving. That's what AI is empowering.
Thank you for that, Claire. That was really good insight into speed versus insight. Sian, can you share an example from your world where AI or analytics have helped you or your clients work smarter?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a couple, and some of one of the examples I'm going to share is a little early stage, as in there's still testing that's happening on this. But I think I'm going to go back to what I sort of mentioned in my previous question, which was how we're using AI and data to address some of our fundamentals. So I think we all know, as a marketer, one of our biggest challenges is data fragmentation and having data in lots of different areas. So there's a lot of work that I've been doing with one of my clients where they've been, implementing their own customer data platform, so that they've got better view of their customer data, and that has really moved the dial in terms of the type of segmentation that they are able to do, blending geography, industry, demographic data with real website behavior data, so that they've got much more engaged audiences that have resulted in better click-through rates, better conversions, with some of their key priority segments. And the next evolution on from that, and I've seen this being tested and trialed in like ABM programs, is the personalization at scale. So how can you then bring all of that insight together, feed that into language models, and then within that then can spout out lots of personalized languages at scale. And we're not talking the standard personalization where you've got those empty fields where it auto populates in with pre-configured terms, etc. We're talking natural language that's very tailored to that particular individual, their behavior, what they're interested in, etc., etc. And I think, as I say, a lot of that's still in the testing phase. But I think that's a really interesting example of data and AI working together in terms of that better customer view, and then how you can scale that from a personalization perspective to create better customer experiences. And as I say, I've seen it applied from an ABM perspective. We're definitely trying to see how that could work from a B2C perspective as well. So I think watch this space is probably the answer, because I think there's some really great things that you can be doing and testing there.
Thank you so much for that, Shad. That was very, very interesting to learn more about. Right, let's look at skills smart marketers are prioritizing in 2025. So this year in 2025, marketing hiring managers want to see these 5 AI skills. So they're looking at AI content creation, they're looking at marketing analytics, they're looking at predictive testing, performance marketing, and AI insight generation. So, Claire, which do you think are the hardest to find in these candidates right now?
I think I'm going to say number 5, AI insight generation, because it's not necessarily just AI insight generation, just insight generation in general. So I think it's easy to find someone who can generate content with ChatGPT, or who could run a meta campaign. But what's much harder to find is a marketer who can look at data coming out of GA4 or HubSpot, spot patterns, and then actually turn those into strategic decisions or messaging refinements, or whatever it is we're wanting to do. The gap isn't in access to tools, but it's in that thinking layer. So insight generation often requires marketers to ask really good questions and understand the customer journey and connect the dots between raw data and translating that into actionable strategy. And frankly, I think that's quite a rare skill, but one I do think that the LSE Digital Marketing Program is designed to equip learners with. So I really say that the future belongs to marketers who can combine, I've said this before, the creativity, data fluency, as well as that critical thinking, not just those who can push buttons or prompt a tool.
Thank you so much for that, Claire. Now, Sian, what signals do you look for to know someone is truly data and AI literate?
Yeah, I mean, we've obviously highlighted some of on a few of these, and I think Claire touched on a couple of points in her answer just then. I will go back to something that I repeated near the beginning in terms of, I think that if people can talk about the successes as well as the failures, because let's be honest, we are not getting this perfect. It's definitely a learning journey. So I think someone that's able to talk about both is a good signal for me. I think other things that I look out for is they ask better questions. So I think it goes back to some more that Claire was saying. It's the critical thinking, it's the knowledge of the system, and it's about how they're framing problems, validating assumptions versus what's the tool that they're using to do that. I think the other thing that I look out for is, great operators don't just explain about AI and data. They're able to tie it back into outcomes and what we're looking to deliver from a strategic or from a business outcome perspective. So to me, it's also seeing how people are moving beyond just the dashboards or talking about what they're seeing to what the implications are or the decision making that needs to happen around that. So, things that you'll be hearing when you've got someone that's very data or AI literate is, how they're aligning their work to OKRs, how they're using it to, resolve blockers early, push for faster feedback loops. Some of the things that we've already highlighted, I think, are really great signals to be looking out for.
Thank you so much for that, Sian. Really appreciated. But yeah, everyone that does have a question, please put it on the Q&A, which is below on the screen, not the webinar chat. And we will address all the Q&As at the end of the session, which will be great. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So from curious to confident, building career impact with AI. So you don't need to be technical, just curious. Curiosity is not coding. And it's the best place to start. So you actually don't need a tech background to learn. So all you need to do is start small. Use AI for content, ideas, and keyword research. Learn by doing. Programs like the LSE Career Accelerator offer structure, security, and real-world projects. And finally, build that momentum. Join communities, run test campaigns, get hands-on with AI tools. Finally, we're going to look at what this can do for your career. So looking at the high growth roles, looking at AI growth marketer, looking at MarTech specialists, data-driven strategists. These are the kind of roles that will be really emerging. So alongside that would be campaign optimization specialists, personalization strategist, AI content lead, customer journey analyst. So these are real titles appearing in job listings today, and they're often filled by marketers who learn to use AI tools strategically, not technically. Let's go on to the next slide. So now we're looking at the LSE Digital Marketing Career Accelerator. This is why our program focuses so much on AI and analytics, because these are the skills that employees are demanding today. So we go through course 1, which is the essence of digital marketing, looking at evaluating and optimizing channel strategies, understanding consumer journeys, and present data-informed strategies. And then we have course 2, which is the data-driven aspect of marketing. So looking at multi-channel campaign management, ethical data handling, customer segmentation, and data storytelling. I just want to remind you guys that each course is 6 weeks long. So it really will be quite immersive and quite detailed in what we'll be focused on. And then finally, we have course 3, which is looking at impactful digital marketing leadership. So growth marketing, team leadership, structural frameworks, budgeting, and communication strategies. So how to be a leader in this ever-changing space, especially with AI that's so emerging. And then you have the final employee practical, getting that practical experience, applying all the skills that you've learned to the final employee project, a 6-week live project based on a real world scenario, which is so exciting. And then, we have that AI learning track aspect. So you get that, the AI masterclasses run alongside the curriculum, which is really exciting. And alongside that, we have our one-on-one career coaching, that experienced program support from a dedicated student success manager. And you'll also be earning a globally recognized certificate from the LSC. So, Claire, why do you think hands-on structural learning matter so much in this space?
Sean, I think because in digital marketing, theory alone just doesn't cut it. So the tools are changing constantly. The platforms evolve weekly. What worked last quarter might flop today. So marketers really need way more than just knowledge. They need the muscle memory of actually applying that. So I think that's why I'm such a fan of structured hands-on learning, like what's on offer in this Career Accelerator, because you're not just passively watching videos, you're solving real-world problems, you're testing strategies, you're getting feedback in a safe but challenging environment. And I think the employer project is quite a game changer because it forces you to take what you've learned, whether it's that multi-channel campaign strategy, whether it's about data storytelling or budgeting, and you have to use it in a real world scenario. And that's the kind of experience that builds confidence and can get noticed by an employer on your CV. So I think in short, it's not really about learning about marketing. It's about becoming a marketer who can actually deliver.
Thank you for that. I really like that, Claire. Marketing that can deliver. And I think our program really does focus on that element as well as many other aspects in marketing and AI. So, Sean, I have a question for you. From your experience, how valuable is it when candidates come in with hands-on experience, having already applied tools and strategies in real-world contexts?
I mean, the short answer to that is probably incredibly valuable. I think for a lot of businesses that are hiring at the minute, speed to execution. And when I say that speed to execution, but obviously that happening in the right way becomes really critical. So if you've got people that have got the skill set, can demonstrate where they've applied it, they know what the blockers, the barriers, the watch outs all are, et cetera, then that stuff is gold from an employer hiring perspective, because that's going to accelerate their journey far more quickly than someone that is still in that theory stage and is learning about it without that real world application. So I think, to reiterate Claire's point, where you can demonstrate where you've applied that practically, whether that is through a course like this or whether that's in your own jobs, becomes really crucial, because that's what businesses are going to be looking for. Not someone that can say they can do it, but someone that can demonstrate that they can do it, at pace, and that they can support that business with driving that AI adoption journey.
Thank you so much for that, Sean. So everyone tuned in today, we would love to know your thoughts on everything that's been discussed in regards to this matter. We want to know, what's your biggest career goal for the next 6 to 12 months? Let us know in the chat, not the Q&A, but the chat on the screen below. And it would be just great to know your thoughts on that. And if you want to join us for a masterclass to learn how to build your own AI team, no code, no hassle, there is a masterclass running this Friday at 12 p.m. There is a link in the chat. So if you want to sign up for that, it will be on the chat as well. All right, let's go on to the next slide. So looking at building AI looking at building AI marketing skills. So the Career Accelerator also features a dedicated AI and digital marketing learning track. So learners will receive four expert-led masterclasses. You'll focus on real-world case studies and will have live Gen AI demonstrations. So the focus of the learning track will be on building the relevant AI skills you need in the workplace. And at the end, you will earn a digital badge proving your AI literacy skills. So what do you think is your biggest concern about enrolling onto this program? Feel free to discuss on the chat below. There is the aspect of time commitment, financial cost, uncertain career impact, and right experience. I would say with this career accelerator, the way that we designed it, it's online, it's part-time study program designed for busy working people or people that have full-time families or have a very busy lifestyle. You have the student success team that will support you on an ongoing basis to check on your well-being. You have the career coaching to provide guidance in your career. And you also have the academic course facilitators that will be delivering the program content. So this wide space of that support throughout the whole program will guarantee, that time and space to dedicate to this career accelerator. In regards to financial cost, we have the career coaching, which is ongoing support throughout the program and even after program completion. This is on a one-to-one basis where you're provided with that extensive guidance of where you want to go in your career. And we've had so many student success stories since we've started this career accelerator. We also have uncertain career. Yeah, we also have right experience. So this program is designed, the eligibility requirement typically would be that you hold at least 1 year work experience with exposure to business and marketing, or you have studied a marketing degree. So we have a really wide mixed bag of learners within our program, which is very, very beneficial because you will really learn from each other's experiences, especially when it comes to marketing. So thank you for everyone that tuned in for the poll. So thank you for that. And I hope that provided some clarity. So now we're looking at fast track your AI advantage. So if you are to enroll and pay your deposit by the 6th of June, this is what you'll receive. You'll receive a ChatGPT Plus subscription for 6 months, and this is limited to the first 10 applicants. You'll also receive monthly AI learning circle for 4 sessions. So this will actually be small group interactive sessions facilitated by industry experts, focused on real-world applications, peer learning, and practical guidance to complement your AI masterclasses, which sounds very exciting. And also another incentive would have early access to alumni networking. So starting to build your professional network from day one. Remember, I mentioned that there is a wide mixed bag of learners on the program. Well, this is a great incentive and advantage for you as a learner to really network with your fellow learners and really make those connections as you are growing with your skills in digital marketing. If you submit your application and book a call to claim, it will be provided for the first 15 spaces, which will be very exciting. So let's go on to the next slide. Thank you, Sam. So where our learners go next. So this is actually one of the most exciting parts of the program in seeing how quickly learners grow in confidence and how that translates into real career shifts. So we have Alicia. She went from a CRM, which is customer relationship management and loyalty coordinator, to a creative strategist. So she just did not just learn marketing theory, but also built the confidence to position herself as a true marketer, which is fantastic to see that, that growth and that transition. Then we have Sophia. She came from an employer branding background, and she landed a marketing executive role while she was studying the program. Both these learners landed these amazing positions whilst they were studying the course, which is an excellent opportunity to showcase what the Digital Marketing Career Accelerator can achieve. So with Sophia, when asked to build a full campaign, she knew exactly what to do. She said, "Trust me, I would have never been able to do that before." So I think it's just so interesting that these two learners were able to achieve so much and they didn't even complete the program yet. So it just goes to show with will and determination and the support that is provided on the program, So much can be achieved in your career. Anything is possible. Let's go on to the next slide. Thank you, Sam. So this is the next steps. So registrations for the LSE Digital Marketing Career Accelerator actually closes on the 30th of June, 2025. So we have that July intake with orientation beginning on the 7th of July. So if you book a time with myself today, I will be your enrollment advisor. I will be speaking with you and understanding whether your career goals align with the program outcomes. We'll also discuss the flexible payment option plans. This will include an upfront payment reduction, a 6-month, a 9-month, or a 24-month payment plan. And I must include that all these payment plans are all interest and fee free. So there's no extra charges involved, which is really great. And finally, if you enroll and pay your deposit by the 6th of June, you will receive the AI Advantage package that I mentioned a few slides before. So book that time today with me. It's on the chat link. If you book that time, you'll be able to, speak with myself. We can have a better conversation about what it is that you're doing and what you would like to achieve in this, in your career, and the long-term investment that this digital marketing career accelerator can definitely provide for you. So now we go on to the Q&A session. So I'm going to go through the questions. Thank you for everyone submitting their questions. Much appreciated. And Claire and Sian, if you want to chime in, that will be amazing. So we have Michael, who asks, automated content creation. Which AI provider do you believe does this best? That's a great question. What do you guys think? Feel free to tune in.
I can start. So I think the one thing to think about with this question is, it's like asking which camera takes the better pictures. So with choosing an AI tool to support you on content creation, it really comes down to how well you are leveraging the tool, how well you're prompting the tool, how well you understand the tool's limitations and strengths, because they all do have limitations and strengths. How well you are literate in understanding which models to use within the provider. So my personal preference for content creation or writing tasks at the moment is to work with ChatGPT 4.5 or Claude. Those are the two writers that I think are the best sort of copy-based tools. Broader than that, I mean, content creation is quite a broad topic. We could be talking about image generation, we could talk about video generation, asset generation. A really fun tool is Gamma, which lets you automate presentations and documents and all sorts of things. So the field is wide, but I think start with challenging yourself to be a better driver or user or operator of the tool, and not worry too much about which provider is going to do it best. Sian, I don't know if you want to weigh in on that.
No, I kind of agree, because I was going to say I used Claude a lot for my writing, but I spent a lot of time, I gave it a document about my tone of voice, my writing style. I don't use M dashes. I never have. I know that it's not. I know there's a lot of what's the word, like controversy around M dashes and whether that's AI or not. I know lots of copywriters that have always used it, but I have never used it in my writing. So as I say, there's a lot of work that I've done up front to be like, this is how I talk. This is what I want to be known for. This is my style in terms of, like writing, like grammar lexicons and things like that. All of those elements I'm sort of feeding into it so that it works for me. Claude, generally speaking, is probably more human in terms of how it sounds, but you want it to sound like you, and you have to train it to be able to do that, or you have to train it to sound like your business for that to work effectively. There is a Google tool, I think it's Notebook, but we have also been using it. It's quite good for converting podcasts into blog posts and things, or the other way around, blog posts into podcasts. So I've also seen, some of my clients have had really great success with that, and just putting a load of their old blog posts in and creating it as podcast content, and it sounds really realistic. So there's loads of things out there. I think you also have to decide, where do you want to invest? What makes sense for your target audiences? What are the things that they, do they listen to podcasts? Do they watch videos? Do they prefer long form articles? Make sure that it makes sense for you and for your target audiences when you're doing this.
Thank you so much for that, Claire and Sean. That was fantastic. Now, Michael actually asks another question. How much do you believe a marketing CV can be tailored via AI? Oh, that's an interesting question.
I mean, the short answer, of course it can, but I think the question is like, how well does it do it? And this isn't me saying don't use AI to support with your CV writing. It can be great for that. It can be great for stress testing your CV and how well it aligns to the job description. It can certainly help you optimize your content so that it's, stronger, tighter, better aligned to those things. But again, you've got to train it so that it doesn't sound like another AI writing another generic CV for XYZ job description, if that makes sense. So of course you can use it, but there's still effort that you need to put behind it to make sure that it works really well, because people are getting smart in terms of being able to look at what feels AI generated, what sounds like a human being, etc., etc. So of course use it, but be smart with how you're using it.
I think some companies use like certain softwares to detect like ChatGPT. I might be wrong, but yeah, I think that's a thing now.
There are tools out there. I don't know how good they are. I've definitely tested them with an AI generated copy and a human copy, and it doesn't always get it. But it's going to get smarter, is the point. Like, all of this is going to get smarter. So, and I think when it comes to CVs, given the job market as well, having a bit more of a unique, differentiated voice can work in your favor. And AI won't do that unless you train it to do that, and to be able to truly amplify your strengths, your tone of voice, how you speak, how you want to be, how you want to present yourself in that market, because sometimes that can be the thing that also stands you apart from your from your other peers, other job seekers that are out there.
No,
Shahana, I want to just add to something that Sean was saying. Well, firstly, the one thing I want to reinforce is that, to Sean's point, the tech we're using today is the dumbest version of it that we're ever going to work with. So it's crazy how fast it's moving. But the other side of this is to consider how recruitment has changed with AI. So many companies are using AI-driven recruiting systems, and they're using AI to screen CVs. And they've got very specific criteria in those systems. I think they're called ATS. I can't remember the actual term. And learning how to stand out in this new AI-driven recruitment model is something that you have to upskill yourself in if you are going through a traditional job searching process. And I believe that the career coaches on this program do support helping you learn those skills. But yeah, you've got to actually, it's crazy that we have to get our heads around how recruitment has changed and then address that in the way we design our CVs with all the tips that Sean shared.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that, Claire and Sean. And I was actually going to mention the career coaching, having that one-to-one personalized relationship with your career coach, and they will help support you tailor the best CV that you can. That's so much better alternative compared to AI. And it will definitely make you stand out. So thank you for that, both of you. That was great. We have another question by Sonia. She says, what is the most important AI-driven processes for marketers?
The short answer is it's not going to be the flash. It's going to be, the most important one is going to be the one that either helps you to make better, faster, or more confident decisions. So it's not necessarily about it being the flashiest or the coolest. I think right now, what marketers should be focusing in on is, what is the most time-consuming process that we have? Where can AI speed that up? Where do we struggle with decision making? Where could we build more confidence into X, Y, and Z? How can AI help us do that? So there's not like one specific process that I would be thinking about. It will differ, and it has differed when I speak to clients in terms of where they're focusing, where they've got strengths and where they've got weaknesses. So I think start there. like, where have you got big blockers? Where could AI help to fix that? And then maybe the flashier stuff can come along later.
Thank you for that, Claire. Would you like, Sean, would you like to add anything to that, Claire?
I think Sean covered it. The two kind of points of call that I always go to is, where can AI help you save time on a routine and boring task, or repetitive task, or where is your greatest opportunity right now, and could AI play a role in helping you amplify or maximize that opportunity? So the two kind of orientating questions I would use. I think just a word of warning that not every single process is fit for AI use. And you do need to understand the balance between human-driven processes, where AI augments that process, where AI takes over the process itself. And that's really part of learning AI literacy and this whole rethink of how we redesign our processes with AI in the mix.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Sean, did you want to add anything?
No, I was just going to say I agree with the additions that Claire made there. I think that's all. It's so easy to just be like, let's AI everything, and not everything needs to be. And also, you risk devaluing what it is that you're doing. There's a great news article at the moment about Klarna. And Klarna had gone full like AI, got rid of a load of their workforce, and they're now having to backtrack on that. There's loads of stories out there. There's another one where a university created an organization that was just AI agents, and they were only able to complete like 20% of the tasks that you would typically you'd expect within an organization. So back to Claire's point, it's the dumbest it's going to be. It will get better, but there's also there's huge space for that AI human element. And I think the critical part is working out where they play together the most effectively.
No, that is very interesting. Yeah, thank you for that, Sean. We have another question from Sonia. She asks, and she asks in a half joking manner, can we apply AI to approvals processes?
Wouldn't that be
I
nice?
was at a leader. Well, I was going to say I was at a leaders' dinner last week where we had this exact conversation, and the short answer is like a little bit. Yeah, will it take over it completely? No, absolutely not. But we were having some really interesting conversations about, again, where in your process flow could AI handle things so that actually your humans are only dealing with those critical elements where, perhaps there's a compliance issue. Okay, that has been flagged and that now needs to go to legal, or we've got a potential brand issue. So there is something to be said there in terms of where could AI do some of that heavy lifting and prioritize in terms of where then humans are needed to approve, where approval is needed. And it'll be interesting to see at some point in the future whether it can go from briefing through to production without human intervention. But I think there are checkpoints where AI can be utilized so that, again, it can guide where your time is most effectively spent.
Everything Sean said. The only thing that, I think there's a teaching moment here. And what that teaching moment is that you have to come back to the fundamental understanding that AI by its very nature, or at least large language models, are probabilistic in nature. And that is why they hallucinate. It's why they make mistakes, why they come up with stuff that isn't true. And because they are probabilistic in nature and the way they work, they're not deterministic. You cannot offload an approval process necessarily to an LLM because they don't work like that. They are going to give you variability every time. And that's dangerous when you are you're offloading any sort of decision-making process to them. If it is a process or a part of your workflow that is based on an if this, then that technology, that's routine automation. And 100% you could build an AI workflow that incorporates both AI and if that, then this technology. And yes, a part of your process could be, that approval process could be designed into a workflow. But you just have to be careful around the distinction between leveraging AI technology, which is probabilistic, and if this, then that technology, which is just automated decision support in a workflow. So I thought I'd just add that.
Thank you
Yeah.
No, thank you so much. That was very, very insightful. We have another question by Claire asking, do the classes happen at specific times or can you access them anytime? I think I should answer that. So it's an online program. Pardon me. It's part-time study. You can log in anytime you want during the week, whatever is good for you and your schedules, because we designed this program for flexibility, for busy working people, people with full-time jobs, families to, manage. So we designed it for that. And essentially, there will be 2 live sessions every week. Pardon me, guys. 2 live sessions every week, hosted by your academic course facilitator. They will be delivering the program content to you and your fellow learners every Tuesday, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. UK time, and every Friday, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. UK time. So these 2-hour live sessions are very important because they do set the weekly outline of what you need to do for the week. And your academic course facilitators will be experts in the digital marketing world, essentially. They have many years' experience under their belt, and they also have a really strong academic background. So it's important to attend these live sessions so you can really gauge in, tune in, ask questions, interact, and it's going to be very, very helpful. So when you are doing work in your own time, that self-paced learning, you have an idea of what you need to do. And those sessions will be an opportunity for you to reconvene, like ask those questions, provide feedback and whatnot. So it's very, very flexible in regards to that. And then another person asks, is the program online? I'm working outside the UK. So as I reiterated before, it's online part-time study. You can be anywhere you want in the world. It doesn't matter. You don't need to be in the UK to study this career accelerator. And that's the beauty of it, It's not something that's limited to a certain country. It's for anyone that has an interest in digital marketing and wants to accelerate your career. So thank you for that question as well. And I hope it gives you guys a better understanding about the flexibility of this program. Now, Joshua asks, how much experience do you have with asset creation for socials, specifically images and infographics, and what tools have you used? So Claire, Sian, feel free to chime in for that.
This is a space I have been actively experimenting in for quite a while, specifically with creative ad variants, etc. And it's mind-blowing how fast the capabilities of AI are growing. If I think about where we started and where we are today, I use a combination of a bunch of things. ChatGPT's new image generator in 4.0, their new DALL-E model is very, very good. And I would definitely play around with that for both infographics and content creation. Canva has got some new AI tools which are worth exploring, but I haven't had much success, I'll be honest. Ideogram is a really fun tool for graphics and infographics specifically. Really enjoy that as well. From an image generation, I also really like Flux. I think that does a really good job. Midjourney is amazing. So I play a lot with all of them and I experiment to get what works best for me. I think that the teaching moment in this as well is to understand that when you're working with AI for any content creation, and I think it touches on the next question I'm seeing on screen here as well, is AI is going to generate average. And it's all going to look the same. If you just use these tools and you do a quick fix, you are not going to stand out and you are immediately going to look like an AI product. So coming back to this, that you should not be relying on AI for the output. What's more important is the input and the human in the loop in working with the tool to augment your own thinking, your own designs, etc. We're not at a point where we can offload and just hope it's the best version. So just a kind of word of caution.
Thank you so much for that, Claire and Sian. Sian, do you have anything to add?
No, Claire covered it and covered but pretty much all of the tools that I've been testing with as well. So I don't have any other tools that I can add in at that point.
Perfect. Thank you. I know we are running out of time. Apologies for that, guys. So thank you so much, Claire and Sian, for your insights. It's been super amazing to hear what you think of AI and digital marketing. For everyone that tuned in today, thank you so much for your questions, participation in the polls. We really appreciate it. If you want to discuss further, please book a time with myself as your enrollment advisor. It's on the chat. So book a time there and we can have a further conversation about your career goals and how we can help you achieve that through our Career Accelerator. Finally, thank you to everyone tuned in. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Claire. Please book a time with myself and I look forward to connecting. But yeah, I hope everyone has a lovely day. Thank you for tuning in. Take care, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Bye.